Today we're joined with Anne Marie, a female worker, and today we're going to ask her some questions. So can you tell them what your job is?
I'm a construction worker for the city. We do residential work.
Being a construction worker, I'm guessing that you work with men. Do you feel that you get paid differently than them?
Well, if this says something, our bosses tell us not to discuss our wages with our coworkers, but I can tell you that only 9% of the employees with my company are women.
Oh wow. So that means you feel that you get treated differently than the men?
Yeah, actually, aside from them treating me differently by just because they're not used to having a woman in the workforce, I have to stay professional, but also they treat me as if I can't do all the tasks they can do.
Wow, so how do you think that the woman should be treated?
I feel women should be treated equal in the workforce, but that just is not something our society has adapted to yet. It is a process that many people have not grasped, including women.
Wow, so what do you think could be the plans to execute that bad thinking that women are treated differently, and how do you feel that we can treat everyone equally?
Well, as I said, it is a process. Women will need to start taking a charge and getting the respect from men that they deserve. Men will also need to grasp the idea that this country is getting bigger daily, and women will start taking charge in male-dominated work areas.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Today we are discussing the crime and safety of Chicago with Vince, one of the many lawyers of Chicago. Tell us a little bit about the crime you see.
Well, our capital has a large percent of homicide rate. Gangs are big and usually drug-related, and we still have plenty of large racial segregation.
Tell us a little bit about the racial segregation.
Well, the south side of Chicago is 33% African American, and the north side of Chicago has 45% Caucasians and 28% Hispanics.
What do you think is the main cause of crime in Chicago?
There's a few things. The educational system is absent, the employment is low, family unit system from domestic violence, abuse, or neglection influences gang memberships, and also budget cuts.
How do budget cuts affect this?
Well, not enough money to support the police. Crime has gotten out of hand, and people also complain about that the mayor does not connect with the community.
What are solutions that could solve these issues?
Well, I'm working with a kind man named Andrew Holmes, head of the No Gun, No Violence education. The youth and community. He suggested church could be a solution for youth that are struggling with praying and funding programs to get youth involved in the community.
Thank you for all of your help. Today we are discussing the debate on Common Core. Is it worth it? Common Core teaches students to think on their own at a higher level of thinking. The purpose is to ensure that every student with public education is enabled to succeed in college or the workplace upon education. However, opponents argue that Common Core standards are not age or development appropriate and does not allow teachers to adapt their classrooms to their style of teaching. Here with us today we have Principal Beers. So, we understand that you were voted Principal of the Year and have many published books and journal articles published in your name. So tell us, why is it that you are against Common Core?
I'm against Common Core because I believe it's too high of a learning system for younger children, and I also believe that it does not give teachers the right to teach the way they would love to teach.
Oh, I see. So, what other educational issues affect this debate?
This also affects taxation because people do not want to pay a tax on something that they do not believe in and would like the children to learn from.
Thank you.
Poverty rates for Hispanics and African Americans were over 3 times higher than whites. In 1959, there was a 56% poverty rate for African Americans. In 1959, there was also a 16.5% poverty rate for whites. Affirmative action helped segregate schools to make it a better place. African Americans' poverty rate was 15% in 2011. Poverty went down a lot after civil rights. Nearly half of the world's population, more than 3 billion people, live on less than $2.50 a day. More than 1.3 billion people live in extreme poverty, and that's less than $1.25 a day. 1 billion children worldwide are now living in poverty.
The world around us is falling apart as we know it. and history is repeating itself. In the Middle East, Christians are fleeing Mosul and Mad and threats to convert or to die. Earlier this month, Muslim extremists captured the city and ordered Christians to convert to Islam, pay a tax, or to die. They later then revoked tax as an option. This has resulted in a mass exodus of Christians, and now Muslims are only tolerated in the city. Now some words from a Christian man in Mosul who did not want to be identified for security reasons. It is no longer possible for Christians to live in Iraq. They told me I could not work at my job anymore because I am a Christian. I told them I was from Mosul and that it was my home, and they did not care. The houses of Christians were especially marked with the Arabic letter N, meaning Christian. After that, all the properties were robbed. All our things were taken. What is the solution? How long will we have to be here? When we left in the middle of the night, we were stripped of everything. Money, wallets, jewelry, ID, passports, watches, everything. At the day's checkpoint, on the way out of the city, my wife was even stripped of her earrings. They took everything of value that we had. The Al-Qaeda splinter group, known as the Islamic State, blew up the tomb of a burial place of the biblical prophet Jonah last week. They changed our church into a mosque. They ruined historic museums and destroyed a monastery and manuscripts that were 1,000 years old. Iraq is gone. Iraq is finished. We're finished. It's impossible for us to go back.